We have a vision to be an international university of choice, anchored in Africa, dynamically shaping the future. Our mission is to inspire our community to transform and serve humanity through innovation and the collaborative pursuit of knowledge. To fully embrace the digital universe which we are beginning to inhabit, this is what we do at the University of Johannesburg. UJ, where the whole is far greater than the sum of its parts.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the second day of our very exciting conference. We are going to be looking at all sorts of different aspects to do with universities and university libraries today, in particular of a whole variety of different tools. Yesterday, we had a wonderful conversation looking at research and how libraries and librarians in particular can support research, particularly research that has a social impact. We then looked at a variety of different tools that we can use in libraries and how to engage in the fourth industrial revolution and how it is shaping and reshaping our library spaces. With the fourth industrial revolution in mind, it is my great pleasure to welcome Professor Tshilidzi Marwala. He is the author of over 14 books on 4IR and artificial intelligence, and he has been the person that has really spearheaded the development of UJ into embracing the fourth industrial revolution. But that's not all that he's been doing at UJ. He is particularly passionate about reading, and every month, can you believe it, as a Vice-Chancellor, every month he holds a reading group. And the reading group is open to all students and staff, and we have looked at books as diverse as Understanding the Fourth Industrial Revolution, and then looking at books on contemporary Africa and issues of decoloniality. So with that introduction, Professor Marwala, it's over to you. Thank you so much for making time in your busy schedule to address our conference on libraries, COVID-19, and the future of information.
Thank you very much, Maria, for inviting me. I also would like to pay tribute to you and your team for convening this very important gathering today. Of course, we are gathering under very different circumstances, and I appreciate our guests who come from all over the world, Trinidad and Tobago, the UK, representatives from the Association of Commonwealth Universities. So it is actually a new period where it is expected of all of us to find new ways of working, to find new ways of doing things which is going to be hopefully better than before. While this may not be a warm welcome on the University of Johannesburg grounds, it is certainly a warm welcome in the digital formats we have now become accustomed to meeting in. Of course, we live in different times. The words that describe the times in which we find ourselves can vary from words such as unprecedented, uncharted, pandemic, future is uncertain, virtual classrooms. And all these words have had a resurgence in our lexicon in recent months. At the beginning of the year, full of hope for 2020, few could have predicted that this would be the trajectory that we were going to follow. Added to our lexicon is obviously the phrase, the new normal. This strange context we find ourselves in, but one that I must admit we have become adapted to with great tenacity. What is interesting here at the University of Johannesburg is that we are finding that in this new normal, classroom attendance is higher than the previous normal, which was physical. The success rates of our students, we are also finding to also be better than before. So in many ways, we are able to tackle this new normal better than the normal before. I suppose part of the reason why students have been so successful in this era is because there are fewer and fewer distractions. There are no nightclubs to go to. Gatherings, social gatherings are limited. And as a result, students have been finding themselves spending more and more time actually in the virtual classroom. So had you asked at the beginning of the year, I would not have predicted the spread of a virus which began in China and has shaken our world order as we knew it. We still do not know when this pandemic is going to come to an end. Yes, here in South Africa, we are beginning to open up our economy. We are beginning to return many of our students back on campus. But even when they come back on campus, it is not going to be business as usual. Social gatherings are going to remain restricted. Classrooms will only be open to those students who are doing courses that cannot be done in any other form except through physical contact. Our library which has been becoming virtual for some time, is obviously well poised to be able to handle this new virtual normal. I must confess, in my reading club, which is organized by the library, I am finding that our engagements are much more focused to the point. Of course, the fact that there are no social events around them actually give us more time to do much more. So now, 8 months into the year, as we wage this battle against this enemy that is perhaps here to stay for some time, in the words of Arundhati Roy, I quote, "Historically, pandemics have forced humans to break with the past and imagine their world anew. This one is no different. It is a portal, a gateway between one world and the next," close quote. For the university that has positioned itself at the center of the fourth industrial revolution dialogue in South Africa, this has been an interesting yardstick to measure how effective our strategy has been. Here in South Africa, we have embraced the issues around the fourth industrial revolution and all its technologies, whether it is AI, whether it is blockchain, so that we can be able to incorporate that into our teaching and learning. Last year, we introduced a compulsory course in artificial intelligence for all our students. Of course, this does not teach them to be expert, but it teaches them to be educated in the area so that they understand what this technology is all about, what it can do, its limitations, and some of the ethical issues that we need to worry about. And of course, the library is pivotal in this new era. It is pivotal in this new era where we are finding the new ethical regime to be able to navigate this fourth industrial revolution era that is also happening at the same time as we are battling this pandemic. In a sense, this pandemic has forced us to accelerate into the digital ways of living, learning, working, and innovating. And the role of innovation has become very important here at the University of Johannesburg. For example, the university has created a prototype ventilator so that we can be able to assist our Department of Health and our population to be able to have the proper medical support that is needed in this time where resources are actually quite limited. So as a university, we are uniquely poised to be at the forefront of understanding this pandemic from multiple perspectives. And our library has been very instrumental in making sure that it puts resources at the disposal of our community so that they can have all the knowledge they need in order to develop the perspectives that are required for us to be able to defeat this pandemic. As difficult as this time has been to navigate, the pandemic has enabled the world, and us in particular, to rethink and reconfigure ourselves. The issue of classroom sizes is something that we are relooking. The issues of how many people you can put into the lab, how many people you can be able to put into the library at the same time. All these have to be turned upside down because we are more likely going to be living in the COVID world than the post-COVID world. This particular pandemic might actually disappear, but pandemics of this nature are going to be part of us going into the future. So given our strategic contextualization of the fourth industrial revolution, it is very important that as a university, we relook at our mandate as a university to that is much more focused on reshaping our society, our economy, our politics, so that it can be able to navigate the extremely uncertain environment in which we find ourselves. Yes, we have been able to contribute in many ways to finding solutions already, whether it is the face masks, 3D printed face shields, where our library was very instrumental in making sure that this becomes a reality. Whether it is the ventilator that I've talked about, whether it is the academic output that is specifically focused on tackling this pandemic, as evidenced by many papers that have been published at the University of Johannesburg around this coronavirus. And we couldn't have done this without a strong community in our libraries, in all our campuses, without the participation of our staff, and most importantly, without the participation of our international partners. So as you gather here with us, let us connect, let us build relationships that are going to outlast this gathering. Let us co-create the future that we want, the future that is going to happen amidst the uncertainties of pandemics or of the economic regime that we do not necessarily understand, because it would have been brought about by pandemics such as this and other developments that are happening around our economy. With those few words, I thank you very much for joining me today, and I wish you all the best for the rest of this gathering, and I hope to see you physically at the University of Johannesburg. Thank you very much.
Professor Marwala, thank you so much. That was inspiring, and I think it's also given all our participants a nice overview of what we are facing here in South Africa and some of the challenges that we have been overcoming at the University of Johannesburg. So Professor Marwala, thank you so much for your time. We are aware that you have other engagements that you have to go to, and thank you for making time to be with us this afternoon.
The University of Johannesburg, the future reimagined.